Hello, loves. It looks like Facebook is starting to let us go live. We were trying and it was like connecting. So, welcome. I am so excited to share this beautiful client case story with the lovely Laura today and how she expanded into her prosperity with like a 48K launch and her
Yes.
pleasure and like multiple orgasms and bliss and understanding like her pleasure better and her partner's pleasure better. So I'm so excited to get into all of this amazing stuff. And today, you guys are going to learn about some of the processes that Laura went through to have this level of growth and expansion in her spiritual business, while also like exponentially expanding her self-care, her pleasure, taking care of herself, having multiple orgasms, yay, all the amazing things. And also the importance of clearing your own subconscious limiting beliefs and the old identities or versions of yourself that no longer serve you, so you can create that space for the new version of yourself to come in so you can quantum leap. I'm also going to do a couple of clearings and downloads and healings for you guys towards the end. And we're also going to talk about some things you can do now to really be that powerful leader that you know that you're here in the world to show up as, that you can transform your life with ease, speed, grace, joy, and love. So I'm super excited to get into this. And Laura, would you like to introduce yourself to the world?
Yes, sure. I just shared out, so I think we're good to go.
Yay, that means it's
Um,
working.
I think it's working. Yeah, I think it's public. So hopefully,
Wonderful.
hopefully it works. It's going to public and not just to your page, but
Yes.
okay. So my name's Laura Mazzotta, and I am an Akashic healer and teacher. I've also been a therapist for almost 20 years and have recently transitioned over from traditional therapy to entirely spiritual and energetic work.
Mm.
Um, and I have 3 kids. I have a hubby. I have a puppy. I live in New York.
Yay.
And I am just so excited about my life that I'm at this point and that I've made so many changes because I was very, very dangerously ill about 4.5 years ago and just knew that my future held not what the doctors were telling me it held.
Mhm.
And I've been able to see that through. And it's not even 5 years later. And so I'm
Mhm.
just so grateful for my relationship with Laura and for this path and universal energy. And I am on a mission to share it with the world, just like Laura is. So we
Yay.
make a good team that way. Yeah.
Mhm. I love that. And I also love that your name is Laura. Like, you were literally an ideal client. Like, I make old level versions of myself, ideal clients, and usually the name is Laura because it's like Laura 2018.
Right. Exactly.
And then I call in
Exactly.
amazing Laura clients. So that's super fun. And you've been in my world for a couple years. We worked privately for a couple years. You continue to re-enroll because you're like, awesome, we got all of these things done. Now let's go for these huge, amazing big goals and
Yeah.
then reach them. And then you're like, even more, life gets to be even better.
Right. Well, and like I said to you, I was like, when I transitioned over and closed my traditional therapy practice, I was like, had that feeling of fear of, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this, or what's this going to be about? And I
Mm.
was like, oh, I'm just going to continue re-enrolling with Laura McPhee. There we go, done. I'm always safely held. Yes.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I love that. And I also love that literally, like, when we were doing this right before we went live, just to kind of like highlight the biggest wins, you were like, oh yeah, I had like what, 25K cash, 15
Yeah, I was
installments
like,
coming
oh
in. So it's
yeah.
like, oh yeah, it's like a 40K January already.
Yeah, and we still have 2 weeks left. Pretty
Yep.
exciting.
So it's like the level of ease. It's like, how many one-off, one-on-one hours would you have to do in your therapy world to create
Oh right, oh
40K?
my
Like,
gosh.
that wouldn't just be 2 weeks into January.
Oh no, that would be, yeah, months. Well, and the thing is I was making that kind of money when I was working crazy hours,
Yeah.
and just back to back to back to back to back. And part of that was my savior mentality that I had to
Mm,
learn about and shift from.
yeah.
And part of it was just because I had a scarcity mentality,
Mm,
and I had a definition of success that was all about my degree and how many clients I had and how many hours I worked and how much money I brought in. And it was so
mm,
tied to my self-worth. And that's what's so funny about the whole thing is like that go 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 energy, that nose to the grindstone perfectionistic type A energy was actually keeping me from experiencing the ease I wanted, right? Where I thought that I would get to a certain point, but it doesn't work that way. The more that you lean back and you let go, the more comes to you. It's unreal.
mm. Yes. I
Yeah.
love that. And like that's been a huge testament to go from like that go, 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 do, hyper masculine energy that was toxic in your world, that led to
Yeah.
dis-ease, that led to burnout, that led to you not loving life, to like going really deep into your feminine and then allowing yourself to co-create life the way that you want and receive with ease and like doing that deeper work. So how's that been to like release that old heavy masculine and the unsupportive things and tune into your divine feminine?
Well, it's been it's been emotional,
Mm,
but so necessary, and has opened me up to levels and parts of myself that I didn't even know existed.
mm,
Because even when I met you, I mean, I had some physical stuff going on and
mm,
areas that I wanted to shift and change, but very happy, very stable in my life, very successful.
mhm.
Um, but I got that taste of amazing, and I was like, wow, and I have to say too that leaning back from the divine masculine, or I should say just masculine energy and how it was presenting in my life, really,
Mhm.
leaning back from that felt much safer because I was with you.
Mm.
Like I would have been much more scared, um, and much more self-sabotagey, I
Yeah.
think, if I hadn't been working with you. And
Mhm.
so it really allowed me that safety to release it and to allow myself to be vulnerable enough to say, yeah, I can do this and I can do that. And it's what's aligned.
Yeah. And I also wanna, like, normalize that for people, like, there isn't a ton of way showers, like, showing the world how to do life with ease and pleasure and love and
Yeah.
expanding really deeply into your divine feminine, and, like, that can be really scary, like, there's been so many
Yeah.
parts of my journey where I've been fucking terrified of being into, like, the wild chaos energy and, like, truly
Hmm.
just going with the intuitive flow, like, that my intuition's just like, "Do this thing that
Hmm.
99.99% of the world's gonna label fucking crazy," like,
Yes. Oh, yeah.
and then in hindsight being like, "Oh yeah, that was the best, smartest, most amazing thing ever." But if I
Mhm.
had let my logic mind or anything like that hold me back from it, I wouldn't have had those experiences and the amazing lessons and the gold from that. So that's
Yeah.
like super normal to like be afraid of like going even deeper, even deeper, even deeper into your feminine. And it's so worth it on the other side.
Oh, it is because the reason it's scary too is because I don't want to say throwing away, but you're putting aside or transforming
Mhm.
a lot of what you've been taught.
Yes.
A lot of what you've been taught by either the mentors or the parents or the coaches in your life, or
Mhm.
the society's structure, right?
Yeah.
And like expectations for success and such. So
Mm.
it feels like this scaffolding that's been holding you on the straight and narrow for
Right.
like your entire life. You're throwing it away. And it's like, well, what the hell's going to happen to me now? And now I'm in this feminine energy and I'm like, oh, whatever. And it
Mhm.
feels really chaotic and it feels like I cannot manage myself. But you absolutely can. In fact,
Mhm.
tapping into that energy and appreciating and allowing that flow is what helps us really learn how to manage
Yeah.
our ups and downs and moods, because we need to experience that polarity
Mhm.
before we're able to kind of align it with how we need to bring it forward into the world.
Yes. Oh my gosh, and that's so good, and I love that you're now at the point where you're, like, harmonizing back in the supportive divine masculine of, like, there's these
Mhm.
structures. So you're like, "Okay, I wanna have space for a couple client calls a day, and, like, I want this amount of time for free time and puppy time and kid time and pleasure
Mhm.
time and all the fun things."
Yep.
And you now get to, like, literally put that into your schedule and have that supportive framework where it's like, "Okay, this is built into my life. It's not something
Mhm.
that's heavy and I'm trapped by it. It's something that gets to support you now to live the freedom that you desire."
And it's me prioritizing that stuff.
Mm,
I'm not prioritizing the chase and the money and the degree and the label, right? I'm
mhm,
not prioritizing any of that. I'm prioritizing my energy, my health and wellness, my restorative deep rest, my
mhm.
time with my children and my husband, and that's what I put in my calendar first before anything else is opened up. And if something saps my energy to take away from those non negotiables, then I shift it. And I have the freedom
Mhm.
and the flexibility to do that
Yeah.
with what I do. I mean, and I can't even tell you, every day I walk around or I wake up and I'm like, this is my life. This is amazing. It's blissful. It's expansive. It's open. It's free. It's everything that I desired when I
Mm.
signed up with Laura McPhee 2 years ago. Yes.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And it's been amazing to witness your journey. Like, guys, we literally did a client case study last April, and I was kind of comparing the sheet from that time to this time. And it's like the expansion that you've gone through has been so quick and so powerful. And
Yeah.
your up levels have been huge. Like you choosing to let go of your like therapist identity and believe in your spiritual nature and your
Yes.
business, and that your business can not only survive, which was your thing, which is like, will it even last? Will I be able to like make any money off of it? To like
Yes.
being the thing that's thriving, like your
Yeah.
48K launch, your current 40K in sales and cash, January is all your spiritual business, which is so
Yeah.
fucking amazing.
Mhm. It feels so good because
Mm,
it's also this idea of like, the safe money, soul money thing,
yeah.
right? That like, that was my safe money. Like
Mhm.
insurance claims were my safe money, you know? And so I was like, oh, soul money feels riskier, right? It feels a little bit more like, okay, I'm just going to have faith.
Yeah.
I'm just going to have faith. But yes, yes. When you have faith, the universe answers. And like, I think I
Yes.
literally just said that to you earlier before we went live, which is
Mm,
that it's so funny how this first month of me choosing to distance from traditional therapy and just dive into my spiritual work,
mhm.
the universe just answers with a resounding celebration.
Yeah.
Like I'm constantly, and it's not just in the form of money, it's in the form of like openings in my calendar. It's in the form of like
Mm,
certain things aligning a certain way. It's just everything is shifting
yeah.
in my favor. And that's what happens when you trust.
Mm.
And it's funny because that's what's on my You Are a Badass calendar for today, is like
Yay!
really quieting your mind, leaning back, trusting, having faith. And I know it sounds so simple, but
Mm,
it's a process. It really is a process. And
yeah.
it's so loving and supportive to do this with somebody else.
Mhm.
I could have done it by myself, but it would have taken me 4 to 5 times longer.
Right. Mm,
And that's the difference. Is That's the conversation that you and I had before I signed up with you, was like,
mm,
yeah, you could absolutely do this yourself 100%, and I support you in that.
mhm.
But do you want the change now, or do you want to wait 5 years for it? And I was like, screw that. My 5-year-old's going to be 10. You know what I mean? And
Right.
so you think about it, and I'm like, no, I want and deserve to feel authentically, exuberantly myself now.
Yes. Oh my God, I love that. And like, it's true, it didn't happen overnight. Like, you can't
Mhm.
expect this to happen overnight and to just like blindly trust and it'll be there. Like, you had to do deep work and letting go of
Yeah.
parts of yourself that you didn't want to let go of, and
Mhm.
to let go of people and grieve, and like to literally co-create the world that you're in now. Like, it's not just like this happy sunshine rainbow things, which sometimes it is on
Mhm.
this journey, but
Right.
there's also really deep inner work where it's like, oh yeah, what part of yourself feels like you need that thing or you can't be
Mhm.
yourself without it, and like letting go of those pieces that you can create the space for the new to come in with ease.
Mhm.
So
I
good.
know, and
Okay.
that's the thing, like, I was even saying earlier to you too, and that's what I want people to know is, when I say this work is permanent, like the work that Laura does, the energy work that we do,
Mm,
it's long lasting. Like, it's not a band-aid effect, right?
right.
Um, and what's so cool is that, so we'll clear something or we'll move through something and I'll heal it. And then we move to the next level, and I might be up leveling in my business or in my personal life or in
Mm,
my own authority or something, which has been a big one for me.
yay.
And it'll come up again, right? But it'll
Mhm.
come up in a different way or at a different level of intensity. And we'll clear it like that. So I
Yes.
don't want you to think that, oh, this keeps coming back. And so therefore, but you have to realize the progress. You have to realize that
Mm,
when it comes to the much deeper, long-standing patterns, we do need to clear them at different levels, because that's one of the
yeah.
things that I've learned from Laura big time, is that we want to be appreciative and delicate with our human, and our physical bodies, and realize that, like, if we do it all in one fell swoop in like one session, we're going to be knocked over. Like, it's really good to take that time, and to, now when this stuff comes up, like if it's repeated stuff that comes up, I get excited. I'm like, oh, yay, the
Yes.
universe thinks I'm ready for the next level.
Yes. I love that
And I can, yeah,
reframe.
and I can say to you, like, even if I feel a little embarrassed, I'm like, oh, gotta talk about this shit again. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
there's never, it's always like, okay, great. That's what's coming forward. That's what's meant to come forward. Let's work through it. There was never
Mhm.
a question or a hesitation. And that's what's so beautiful about it, about having that compassionate space to do this work.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And also when you were talking, I'm like, oh yeah, I totally forgot to introduce myself. I was just so excited to get
Oh,
in. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like, I do like theta
oh yeah. And who
healing
are
and
you?
Reiki and the conscious pieces and the subconscious pieces. So essentially we've been talking about it. Like I do the masculine and the feminine, the
Mhm,
holistic picture of your life. So I love
mhm,
supporting other female leaders and light workers and truly showing up as their like highest and best version of themselves, getting to serve the world from their overflow so that they can have huge impacts in the world and increase their
mhm.
income and have way more fucking pleasure and like have everything that your heart's desiring.
That's why I signed
Which,
up with you, because I
yes.
wanted the sex fun. I wanted the sex.
Yay. Okay, let's talk about the sex then. So,
All right, let's talk
your
about the sex.
journey went from coming from a place of sexual trauma, being more constricted sexually, to expanding into more pleasure with your partner. Now that I'm a erotic blueprint coach, I was able to like frame it in ways where it's like you're an energetic. So there's five main types of people. There's energetic, there's sensual, there's sexual, and kinky and shapeshifter. So you can be a mix of those things. And Laura is primarily energetic and her partner is primarily sexual. So they were just like speaking different languages to each other and having this thing where they're like missing each other or creating like resentment or like just they weren't speaking the same language. So there was all this miscommunication going on around what they desire and how to get their needs met with each other. So it was super fun to like connect in ways that your energetic gets super fed and his sexual understands and then his sexual gets super fed. So I love that you've expanded so much there.
Yeah, it's amazing. And that's the other thing I want people to know too is like, you don't have to go from, oh, I'm not having sex at all, or, I don't feel comfortable with sex at all to diving into this work. Like we had a decent sex life, before I started working with you. But again, same kind of pattern, right? We went going from decent in my life, like my life was good. I
Yeah.
was good. I'm happy, connected, love my relationship, all that
Mhm.
to phenomenal,
Yeah.
and being able to just be like, wow, I did not know that my body could do that. Wow. And like just tuning into it at these levels and like having my husband be like, go call Laura. Like, I want the next assignment. I want the next assignment.
Oh my God, I love that. I love it so much when my clients have really supportive partners and they're like, more homework, more things.
Exactly. He loves it.
Oh my God, that's so good. And I love that, like, literally when you had multiple orgasms, you like posted in my group and you sent me messages in the middle of the night. And I'm like, yeah.
I was like, no shame here. Not around that. I was like, dude, you guys want multiple orgasms? You want to get to this place called Laura McPhee now? Because I was just like mind blown. I'm like, holy shit. Oh my God. I've never experienced that before. What did my body just do?
Oh my God. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's so good. I love having those realizations of like, oh my God, my body can do this and this level of pleasure. And like,
Yes.
I've had that happen so many times in my life, like where I'm like, oh, this is the best it can get. Like, this is where it's capped at,
Right.
right? And then there's even more and even more and even more pleasure. And it's like, and like soul expansive, connective pleasure, not just like, oh, I
Right.
want to get off pleasure. It's like deeply connective, unconditional love. Like, sex is like a connection to source energy. It's like pure
Mhm.
creative energy that you get to tune into.
Correct. And that's what's so funny that I learned through us doing all the sexual energy work too is
Mm,
literally everything in my life opens up
yeah.
when I activate and work with my sexual energy. It's our creative energy,
Mhm,
it's our energy for belonging, it's our energy for connection. It's like
mhm.
it's so good and it energizes me, right? And
Yes.
there was so much shame around that for me and so many like boxes right around that topic in particular, and it's just so freeing to open that up. And what's so beautiful is that when you do any kind of energetic work, the people around you are going to be impacted. So
Yeah.
there's changes and shifts in my husband as well because of the sexual
Mhm.
energetic work that I've been doing. And so
Yes.
just to be able to see that level of that level of connection going even deeper than we already had is
Mm.
just awesome. Like after almost 25 years together, we're more intimate and connected than we've ever been, you know, so passionate, and it's just amazing.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love that. And how's your like receiving expanded by doing this work?
So, right, that's what I was actually going to say earlier was like, yeah, and it comes down to receiving, my friends. You got to open yourself up to receive. I don't care if your
Mm,
neighbor's baking you banana bread or if somebody's holding the door for you at the grocery store. Like anytime that you can receive and just
mhm,
wholeheartedly and unapologetically say, yes, I deserve that. And yes, thank you so much. That feels amazing. The more that you
mm,
can receive, that's where it started for me. I
yeah.
needed to learn how to start receiving before I could open up more sexually.
Yeah. And that can be huge work, especially when like we're taught to help others and to be in this role of we're helpers and we're other people's savior. Like we do the healing work for other
Hmm.
people. It would be weak for us to ask for support or say to someone else, I don't understand this or I'm not good here. And like, especially in up leveling, to be like, oh, I'm not going to be the smartest person in the room. I'm going to have to receive support by going into these bigger containers. I'm not going
Yep.
to be the biggest fish in the small pond. I'm going to be a little totem pole and a like thing with whales. And I'm going to be
Hmm.
in the space of, I don't understand that. I need support. I have questions here. I'd like to receive more
Right.
help here.
Yep.
So it can happen in so many different ways. And like, I love that you've also expanded your team this year, that you
Oh,
like are receiving support from a VA and delegating and giving other people things to do.
I'll tell you, that's a game changer. Game
Yes.
changer. Any of you who have businesses or want to create one, and I remember you telling me this, like, oh, just hire somebody from, the rule is invest in yourself before you have the money,
Yep.
right? Before you can justify it cognitively, right? That's when you're going to get the biggest shifts. Because for me, I was like, oh
Mhm.
shit, okay, pay, and then same thing with the VA. I was like, all right,
Yeah.
so I'm not totally at the income level I want to, but I really feel overwhelmed and I need, and
Yeah.
and I just keep giving her more money. Like every month because I'm like, this is such a beautiful team. It's working so beautiful. And that's the thing.
Mm.
It's a team. Like we are energetically creating together and
Yes.
we have access to more reach in this world, right? Reaching more and more people with this beautiful,
Yes.
life-changing energy. And it's so
Mm.
exciting to be able to and that's one of the things I want people to realize. Like it's exciting for other people to join in that mission
Yes.
too. You know what I mean? It's not just like, oh, I'm hiring somebody. I feel like no, like we're joining in a mission together. And
Yes.
it's so giving to all of us.
Mm. Yes. I love that. And it really does help you have more impact in the world. Like your last free
Yeah.
offer, you had like 200 people join.
Hmm.
And like you get to be more visible. You get to like be in your own zone of genius even
Yep.
more when you have that
Yep.
supportive team around you, which is so
Yeah.
beautiful.
I know. And I
Mm.
remember when I first started that, and then I was like, okay, now what do I do? Like it's a Saturday and I don't have anything on my calendar. It's like, oh wow, I can relax and enjoy my family. This is amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so, so, so good. Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay. We've talked about so many things and I want to make sure that we like hit all the big pieces. So let's talk about your 48K launch. Like it wasn't like over a 6 month period of time, which some people might think, like it was literally over about 2 months.
Yeah.
And you just like opened yourself to serving people in a way where they could be in the Akashic records, where they can support other people with it. So like what I love is the positive ripple effects, like that I get to support you and you support other light workers and then they support other
Hmm.
people. And like the
Yes.
waves of change with that are just so fucking powerful.
Oh my God, it's so amazing. I remember when, yeah, my certification students just started to be like, yeah, this is my niche and this is my niche. And that I'm like, oh, and now people are coming to them. And I'm like, this is so,
Yes.
it just feels amazing to be able to lead this
Mm.
kind of movement and mission, right? To be able to say, yeah, and now I see people teaching other people. And um,
Yes.
so that launch was between, when I think about it, it was really over like a 4 to 6 weeks span of time because it was like the first week in August until like the second week in September.
Mhm.
Did I freeze or did you
Yeah,
freeze?
you froze for a second, but it was just the August to September. It was just like for half a second.
Okay. Okay, cool. So yeah, yeah, but I felt so excited, but also like, oh my gosh, this is amazing because there's so many people that are out there ready for what it is you have to bring forward. You
Yeah.
know, like your exact unique mix of what you have to bring to this picture, right?
Mhm.
And they're just waiting for you. And when you finally open your mouth and say, this is who I authentically am and this is what I want to do, people are going to be like, oh my gosh, I feel the same way. Or, oh my gosh, that's what I've been waiting for, you know? So,
Yes.
right. Yeah. Don't keep your mouth shut.
So good. Okay, so how was that switch from before you were like, "I'm, like, pitching people," to now, how do you
Oh,
feel?
oh yeah, no. I know. I was like, I don't want to pitch, I don't want to push, I don't want to be salesy, all of that, you know?
Mhm.
No, it was all a mindset for me. You
Yeah.
know, it was a mindset that I needed to shift because I was coming from a point of scarcity, you know? And so
Mm.
now, no, it's entirely about I know that how valuable and powerful and literally life-changing this work is.
Yes.
And it's my responsibility to share this with the world.
Mm.
It's not it doesn't feel responsible to me to not share it with the world. And so really it's an invitation, you know? It's like a I'm inviting you into a level of amazing that I know I didn't see at all on a
Mm.
conscious level. And I want you to be able to know that it's out there.
Yes. Oh, so, so, so good. Oh my gosh, I love that. And have you been with, like, your celebrations, gratitude from a year ago to now?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah, that was a hard one for me. Celebrating myself was really hard for me,
Mm.
because as soon as I would get people signed, I'd be like, "Okay, now I gotta get to work," right? Because I gotta make sure they get their money's worth kind of situation, right?
Yeah.
Which again was scarcity mindset. So you can see how, like, each level that you do this, you continue to move forward new levels of where you can grow and heal and change and transform. So
Yes.
for me, it was, yeah, I'm deserving to receive this. That's another area of receiving.
Mm.
Um, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Sometimes your image goes away, but I can still hear what you're saying. So you were talking about moving
Okay,
from
cool.
scarcity to
So
deserving, which I love because it's like, of course, you just keep stepping into your next level abundant identity. Like,
exactly. And so now it's like it used to be I started to say, all right, well, I'll celebrate for 24 hours before I allow myself to do anything. And now it's like
mhm.
72 hours. And I'm
Yay!
and I just naturally grew into that. It's not like something I had to create for myself. I just naturally grew into that. And
Yes.
being able to do that without my body screaming and saying, I don't feel well. And so you need to sit on your ass and just receive and allow yourself to absorb and appreciate what's coming forward, right? That was
Yes.
another level of deserving. So yeah, it's been such an exciting journey.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And before we started, you were sharing some stuff that you specifically love about working with me and how our sessions run
Mm,
versus other things you've experienced.
yes. I love working with you because I am, you know, the recovering perfectionist type A
Mhm.
personality. And so I always come to our sessions prepped. Like I
Yeah.
always have questions that I want to ask, things that I want to do. And then Laura will be like, I'm feeling something is off in your field, or I feel like we need to dive into your body. And part of me wants to be
Mhm.
like, well, fuck, I got shit to do.
Mhm.
Right. But it's so beautiful because it really allows that space for me to take care of me first, to
Yeah.
listen to my energy first. And it's
Mm.
helped me learn that that's the first step and that's the most important. And you
Mm.
know that she does so compassionately that no matter what came forward, if I was just like, I need to sob it out, you know, she's like,
Mm.
whatever's coming forward, like she's very accepting and fully trusting that the energy leads the way,
Yeah.
you know, and she allows that to she's a model for that, but also allows that to really be a guidepost for sessions.
Yeah, and I feel like that's so powerful because sometimes our, like, conscious brain, which is only 5%, has all these stories and all these things, and it's like, "Okay, well, if there's something going on in your world and your body that's creating that story, let's just go to where the root of it is, clear it out from there, and
Yeah.
then all these million and 2 things get cleared," and I have that happen so often, like, in the past couple months, I've, I guess, passed half a year. I've expanded a ton into group, and it's been so interesting to see like really deep themes of people being like, well, I want this and this and this, and like their head creating all these stories and these to-do things and all this like million to two steps of how they think they need to do it. And just like 5 minutes of going into their body, doing that clearing work, releasing it and letting it go makes all
Mhm.
those stories go away. And it's like they get deep clarity and truth of what their next best step is. So they can move from inspired action. So they can move from like their souls knowing that this is going to work. This is the next step for them, not the
Right.
50,000 ways that you can see any other person doing a successful business online. Their
Mhm.
truth, their way, their deep soul's contract with other souls who have been waiting for their message and their like medicine in the way that only they can bring it. And it's like so powerful to do like that deep
Mhm.
inner work and like see those stories kind of like fade away. It's like, oh, they're not
Yeah.
important. And now I know my next step. And that's all I had to do. And it gets to be simple and it gets to be easy and like reshaping that like belief system to be ease and love and support and togetherness and not doing it all by ourselves and like creating the paradigm for that.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. It's creating that
Mhm.
paradigm for the divine feminine, like that it's okay for me to experience my divine feminine. In fact, it's
Yeah.
called for. In fact, it's aligned, and that, you know, being able to safely lean back in my business
Mhm.
and my personal life and watch how things unfold,
Yeah.
has done wonders for my health and wellness. Wonders,
Mhm.
because, really activating that parasympathetic nervous system, that relaxation response, that divine feminine energy, and allowing myself to just marinate in it is
Mhm.
not something that I was doing before.
Yeah, definitely. And how about your old mindset before you were like in my world, before you were in the space of like, all the abundance, all the things? How was your mindset with like any objections of moving forward and
Oh,
investing?
right. So I would say my primary objection. So when I was money. But when I first saw you, the first time I saw you online, and I was like, who the hell is she going on here talking about sex all the time? Like, what the hell? She's talking about money and sex all the time. And I was kind of like turning my nose up at you, like, who the hell is she? And then I'm like, but I can't stop watching. I can't stop watching. And
I
it was
love
just
that.
because I needed shifting around it. I
Yeah.
had energy that I was avoiding looking at, and anytime that we're judgmental, that's what's coming
Mm,
forward. And then it was just the money, and
yeah.
the first time it wasn't so much about the money, but then when I kept enrolling with you, and I
Mhm.
just kept wanting more and more and more, and it was a sign of my own personal success and advancement
Yes.
and transformation, because I kept up leveling and I was eager for more, and my soul was eager for more because I
Mm.
saw how much it did in my life. I mean, to me, it was a no brainer, but then I'm like, oh shit, the price tag. Oh shit, but
Mhm.
it doesn't matter, because relative to my level of expansion, it's nothing. And
Yes.
anytime you invest in anything, you think about what this is going to give back to you in a lifetime, and not
Yes.
just a lifetime, but like generations after you, that
Mhm.
you're doing this work, this energetic work that then isn't going to ripple down to them, that they have to go through.
Yes.
So it's
Oh
just
my gosh, so
invaluable.
powerful. And I love that you've like
Yeah.
made your ROI quickly. Like the
Mm.
first re-enrollment, like within a couple months, you're like expansion into groups kind of like covered it. And then,
Oh yeah.
like, it's like within months,
Oh.
like I'm good.
Oh, and then like I think that our contract expires in
Mhm.
February, like our first one
No, the
or our
second one
second one.
expired. Yeah.
The second one
In
expired.
February 2021.
Right. It's almost up. So like in October, I messaged Laura and I was like, how do I sign up with you again? Like I know that I
Yes.
still have 5 months with you or 4 months with you, but like I need to secure this now,
Yes. Oh my gosh. And I love that. And that's so smart. Like we get to build our businesses where we have the expansion into this. And when we can create like waiting lists where it's like, I don't have the space for one-on-one clients right now, which is something that I'm actually really excited about because I have the space for a couple new private VIP clients. So anyone who is feeling called to that, who's like, oh my gosh, so resonating with what we've shared, who knows that they're ready to deep dive into even more pleasure and prosperity and know that they're ready to do it with ease and love and like coming from your soul's calling, you're like, own inspired action from like the harmonization of your most divine feminine and your masculine energies mixed together for your unique soul's blueprint in the world. If you're ready for that, I'm so excited to open up a couple sales calls. So we're going to do pleasure and prosperity soul line strategy sessions to really see if this is the best fit for both of us, to make sure that you're at the stage in your life and business where this is going to really quantum leap you and expand you exponentially. So I'll be sure to put the link in the comments right after we're done here so you can book your appointment in over the next, I think, week and a half. I have some spots available, so I'm super excited to open that. And before we end, Laura, is there anything that you would share with someone who's thinking about working with me privately, who's maybe been looking at me on the outside or being like on the fence about joining some programs?
Yeah, I mean, it's a no-brainer. It's a
Mm.
no-brainer. Like, it's so transformative. I can't even tell you. And even those sales calls are transformative, right? Like, even
Yes.
just
Oh my
being
God.
in your energy is transformative. And so,
Mhm.
it's choose yourself now and know that you're going to be so unconditionally and compassionately held by Laura, and she's going to be able to see things in you that you
Mhm.
cannot see in yourself. And she's
Mhm.
going to, so she can get to that core like that.
Yes.
It's going to feel like she can read your mind,
Mhm.
which
Well,
is
I'm
very
clear
helpful.
cognizant and I'm a reflector in human design, so, like, it makes sense why my soul's called to do this work. It's like, it's easy for
Yeah.
me, which
Yes.
I'm so grateful that that's my superpower, and I'm also so grateful
Yeah.
for you coming on today and sharing your story and your light with the world, and thank you guys so much for tuning in and being inspired by all of this. I'm definitely feeling called to do, like, a whole session of, like, healing downloads, so I'll probably go live later tonight to go deeper into, like, some downloads on everything that we kinda brought up in today's call, so I'll super excited to do that later today. And thank you guys so much for just showing up and being the light in the world. I appreciate all the beautiful light workers who tune in to watching all of these amazing case studies. I've been doing other ones. If you're feeling called to like kind of binge my content, you can definitely go check that out on YouTube. I'll get my VA to put that link in the comments as well so you can catch up on some other good things that I've been putting out in the world. And I'm sending you guys so much love and light. Bye.
Bye, everyone.